Doctors said I should have slowed down decades ago. They looked at my age and saw limitations. But here's the truth, I'm 92 years old. I still drive. And in the last 30 years, I haven't been sick. Not even a cold. Think about that for a moment. 30 years. No flu. No nagging cough. No week stuck in bed. Most people hear that and think, well, you must be lucky. But I'm here to tell you, it has absolutely nothing to do with luck. It's because of 5 simple habits. 5 things I started doing that changed everything. Some of these habits? They are so incredibly simple, you might think they couldn't possibly work. You might think, that's too easy to make a real difference. But they do work. Oh, they work. And they aren't secrets I kept hidden away. They are choices available to all of us. These choices didn't just improve my health, I truly believe they may have saved my life. Today, I'm going to share with you exactly what I do differently. And more importantly, why. Why these seemingly small, forgettable moments hold the key to vibrant health and resilience, especially as we age. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about cultivating strength. It's about choosing health, not by chance, but by choice. And you can start today. When you get to be my age, or even just past 60, you start to hear a lot of talk about slowing down. About expecting aches, expecting fatigue, expecting sickness. It's treated as inevitable. But my doctor told me something crucial decades ago. He looked at my energy levels, my complaints about stiffness, and he didn't just blame age. He prompted me to look at what I was doing. That's when I learned something fundamental: your body ages fastest in the moments you don't give it attention. It's in the rush, in the neglect, in the assumption that things will just keep working. Aging doesn't happen all at once, it happens in quiet, early, sometimes forgettable moments. These 5 habits are my way of reclaiming those moments. They are my signal to my body, wake up. We're in this together. We're on offense today. What's truly powerful isn't some intense workout or a restrictive diet. It's the habit. It's consistency. It's consistency that rewires the body, not intensity. Habit number 1, the morning mobility signal. The first thing I do, every single morning, before my feet even touch the floor, is I move. Now, this isn't exercise in the traditional sense. It's not strenuous stretching. It's what I call a signal. A message to my body that today, we move, we breathe, we live. I've done this since I was 62. A doctor explained to me that the body is stiffest, the blood is thicker, the nervous system is still waking up in those first 30 minutes after you wake. But most people? They jolt themselves awake. They swing out of bed, grab their phone, and plunge straight into the stress of the day. What I do is the complete opposite. I stay lying on my back. And I begin with 3 deep breaths. Just breathing, feeling my chest rise and fall. Then, I start simple. I stretch my fingers. Wiggle my toes. Slowly, gently, I rotate my ankles and my wrists. It takes just 90 seconds. That's it. A minute and a half. But this tiny ritual tells every single joint, every tendon, every muscle in my body, wake up. You're needed today. It might sound silly. How could 90 seconds in bed possibly make a difference? But it does. It sends blood flow to my limbs. Oxygen to my brain. It brings awareness to my movement before I even stand up. The impact is profound. This simple act reduces my chance of falls, which is so important as we age. It calms my nervous system. And it boosts circulation throughout my entire body. And the science backs this up. Studies from the National Institute on Aging have shown that older adults who do gentle morning mobility like this report higher levels of energy, greater mental clarity, and improved balance throughout the day. Still think it's too simple? Let me tell you what my mornings used to be like at 60. I would wake up stiff. I'd stumble towards the bathroom, my legs heavy, my head foggy. Once, I even tripped right over my slippers because my feet just hadn't woken up in time. That was my wake-up call. I realized if I didn't send a signal to my body, it would just keep hitting the snooze button. Now, I never skip it. It happens before my coffee, before I check the news. And if I do forget, my body quickly reminds me. Remember, what's powerful here isn't the stretch itself. It's the habit. The consistency. The Mayo Clinic has published research showing that consistent, low-intensity morning mobility practice can reduce inflammation markers, support joint health, and even help regulate blood pressure in older adults. That's not hype. That's science. You don't need to contort yourself into impossible shapes. You don't need a yoga mat. You don't even need to get out of bed. You just need 90 seconds. And a message to your muscles: we're still in this together. Ask yourself, when was the last time you truly said good morning to your body? Aging isn't some switch that flips, it's built moment by moment. And in those quiet, early moments, you have the chance to begin again. Every single morning. Habit number 2, the Golden Glass Powerhouse. After that signal, before I put anything else into my system, I drink something that I credit with keeping me from getting sick for over 30 years. It's not a supplement you buy in a fancy bottle. It's not a pill. And it's definitely not some expensive powdered superfood you found on the internet. It's a warm glass of water. With fresh lemon, turmeric, and just a tiny pinch of black pepper. That's it. Don't let the simplicity fool you. This habit? It is a powerhouse. It's the first thing that enters my body each day, and it primes my immune system, helps lower inflammation, and jumpstarts my digestion before breakfast. Let's break down why this simple mix is so effective, based on what I've learned and experienced. First, lemon. Fresh lemon juice floods your body with vitamin C. Vitamin C is a potent antioxidant. What does that mean? It supports the production of white blood cells, the absolute front line of your immune system. According to the Linus Pauling Institute at Oregon State University, vitamin C doesn't just help prevent illness, it helps shorten its duration, especially for older adults. Beyond immunity, lemon also kickstarts bile production in the liver, which is vital for healthy digestion and helps prevent the buildup of toxins. Ever wonder why digestion slows down as you get older? Often, it's low stomach acid, and lemon helps with that. Next, turmeric. You might know it from curry powder, but it's nature's most powerful anti-inflammatory root. It contains a compound called curcumin. Hundreds of peer-reviewed studies have shown curcumin's ability to lower inflammatory markers in the body. These markers rise as we age, and they are linked to chronic diseases, joint pain, and even cognitive decline. A study published in Frontiers in Pharmacology found that curcumin supplementation improved immune function in aging adults and reduced oxidative stress. It's a defender against the silent fire of inflammation. But here's the trick. Black pepper isn't just for taste. It's the activator. It contains a compound called piperine. Piperine can increase curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%. Without that pinch of pepper, most of the incredible benefits of the turmeric would barely make it into your bloodstream. Together, these 3 ingredients form what I call my golden glass. It takes less than 5 minutes to make. Just heat a cup of water. Not boiling, just warm enough to drink comfortably. Squeeze in the juice from about half a lemon. Add a quarter teaspoon of turmeric and a tiny pinch of black pepper. Stir it. Sip it slowly and let it do its work. I've had this drink nearly every morning for 3 decades. I didn't start it because I read about it online back then. I started it because I felt the difference. Before this habit, I used to get sinus infections twice a year. My joints would ache every winter. I always felt sluggish after breakfast. Within just 2 weeks of starting the Golden Glass, my digestion improved dramatically. I wasn't bloated anymore. My joints felt looser. I hadn't changed anything else. A few months later, I had a startling realization: I hadn't been sick in almost a year. That was 30 years ago. And I've stuck with it ever since. Do I still get exposed to viruses? Of course. We all do. But my body doesn't roll out the red carpet for them anymore. It's awake. It's alert. It's prepared. This Golden Glass is more than just a drink. Just like the morning movement, it's a signal. It tells my body, we're on offense today. You don't need expensive supplements or complex protocols. You need small, consistent habits that whisper, I care about you. So tomorrow morning, before the toast pops or the eggs crack, pour yourself something golden. And as you sip, remember, you're not just drinking a beverage. You're making a declaration: I choose health. Not by chance, but by choice. Habit number 3, the healing walk. I don't walk for exercise. I walk for healing. Every single day, rain or shine, I step outside. And I take a 15-minute walk. I call it my anti-inflammatory walk. When I walk, there are no headphones. No phone. Just movement. And breath. Most people underestimate walking. They see it as something you do when you can't run. As if it's the backup plan. But at 92, I can tell you unequivocally, walking is the foundation. When I was in my 60s, I used to jog. I thought I needed to sweat intensely to stay young. Then, I read a study that changed my life. It said the simple act of walking, just walking, can reduce systemic inflammation. It can regulate blood sugar, boost memory, and even reduce your risk of death by a staggering 39%. That's when I stopped chasing sweat. And I started embracing rhythm. You see, walking isn't just about moving your body forward. It's about moving everything else back into place. Your joints. Your lymphatic system. Your nervous system. Even your thoughts. And here is the absolute key: I do it every day. No matter what. I don't walk far. Sometimes it's just around the block. But I never miss it. It's not because I'm exceptionally disciplined. It's because I've seen firsthand what happens when I don't. I become stiff. My joints ache. My thoughts get cloudy. My digestion slows down. But when I walk, I feel like a machine. My shoulders roll back. My knees stay flexible. My mood rises. And by the time I return home, I feel like I've been completely reset. There is solid science behind this feeling. A study in the British Journal of Sports Medicine found that just 20 minutes of walking reduced levels of C-reactive protein, a key marker of inflammation, in older adults. Another study from Stanford showed that walking boosts creativity and mental clarity more than any seated activity. But you want to know what really sold me? One morning, about 25 years ago, I skipped my walk. I told myself I was too busy. I'd do it later. But the day got away from me. And for the first time in years, I felt old. Not tired. Not sore. Just old. Like my joints weren't mine anymore. Like my lungs had forgotten how to stretch. That's when I knew. Walking wasn't optional. It was medicine. Now, I treat my daily walk like a prescription. I put on shoes with good support. I start slow. I focus on my breath, 4 seconds in through the nose, 6 seconds out through the mouth. I swing my arms gently to keep my posture open and relaxed. And here's something you might not expect. I smile while I walk. Not because I necessarily feel ecstatic every step of the way, but because it makes me happy. That small act of smiling? It activates your vagus nerve. This is a powerful part of your nervous system that helps regulate inflammation, heart rate, and even digestion. One study from psychosomatic medicine found that smiling, especially during physical movement, amplifies the anti-stress effects of that activity. So I smile. I breathe. I walk. Just 15 minutes a day. And it has given me decades of strength and vitality. You don't need fancy gear. You don't need perfect weather. You don't even need energy to start. Walking gives it to you. Your body was built to move, and every single step you take says, I still can. If you've been feeling stuck, tired, or foggy, don't wait for motivation to strike. Put on your shoes. Open the door. And tell your body, let's begin again. Because motion is life. Habit number 4, the protein powerhouse breakfast. There is one nutrient I absolutely never skip. Not once in over 30 years. It's not a vitamin. It's not a magic mineral. It is something much, much more foundational. You see, when I turned 60, I genuinely thought I was eating well. I ate fruits, veggies, whole grains. I even took the occasional multivitamin. But I was still losing strength. My energy would dip sharply by mid-morning. And I started forgetting things. Names. Where I left my keys. Sometimes, I even forgot whether I'd already eaten lunch. I chalked it up to age. I thought, well, this is just what happens. But my doctor said, no. You're just not getting enough protein. He explained that after 60, our bodies become less efficient at absorbing and using protein. What does that mean? It means you actually need more protein as you age, not less. You need it to maintain muscle mass, to keep your immune system strong, and to support healing throughout your body. And that's when I changed my breakfast completely. Instead of cereal or toast, foods that spike blood sugar and offer little lasting fuel, I started eating what I call the brain and body breakfast. It's incredibly simple. 1 boiled egg. A cup of plain Greek yogurt. A handful of walnuts. And a few blueberries. Altogether, that's over 25 grams of high-quality protein. Plus anti-inflammatory compounds, healthy fats essential for your brain, and antioxidants. This breakfast doesn't just fill me up. It fuels me. And let me tell you why this matters so much. Protein isn't just for bodybuilders sculpting muscles. It is absolutely essential for your immune cells, which are literally built from amino acids. It's needed for the enzymes that repair tissues throughout your body. And it's crucial for the neurotransmitters that keep your brain sharp and focused. The research is clear. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults who consumed 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal had significantly better muscle mass, fewer hospitalizations, and even lived longer. Another study from Tufts University showed that seniors with higher protein intake had stronger immune responses to illness and vaccines. It's not just about physical strength, it's about resilience. Now, not all protein is created equal. That's why I focus on complete proteins, those that contain all 9 essential amino acids. Eggs? Perfect score. Greek yogurt? It's a complete protein, plus you get calcium and probiotics for gut health. Walnuts aren't complete on their own, but they're packed with beneficial omega-3s and inflammation fighters. And blueberries? They're the antioxidant glue that pulls it all together, protecting your brain. This breakfast doesn't just keep me full through the morning. It keeps me unshakable. And here's something I didn't expect. My blood sugar stabilized completely. I used to have that inevitable crash around 11 a.m., needing a snack or feeling drained. Now, I glide through the morning like I'm 40 again. If I have important meetings, long drives, or appointments, it doesn't matter. I'm sharp. I'm steady. Because I started my day with what matters most. And no, it doesn't have to be exactly that combination every single day. Some days, I'll switch it up. Maybe cottage cheese with flax seeds. Or a small piece of grilled chicken on sprouted toast. Even a lentil scramble if I'm feeling fancy. But the rule? The rule never changes. Never skip protein, especially at breakfast. That first meal is the moment your body decides how it's going to perform for the rest of the day. You wouldn't fuel a car with fumes, would you? So why do we do it to ourselves? A protein-rich breakfast isn't a luxury. It's a lifeline. And it's one you can start tomorrow morning. No matter your age. No matter your past habits. Because your body doesn't care how old you are today. It cares how you feed it today. Habit number 5, the mind that leads the body. Here is something no doctor ever explicitly told me, but I've learned it through decades of living. Your mind gets sick before your body does. And if you truly want to stay young, truly vibrant and resilient, you have to start there. Every single morning, before I speak to anyone, before I even check the weather outside, I do something I call mental tuning. It's not formal meditation. It's not therapy. It's just this: I sit still for just 3 minutes. And I picture the kind of day I want to have. I consciously don't imagine the traffic I might face, or the errands that need running, or the bills that are due. That's the easy, automatic part. Instead, I imagine how I want to feel throughout the day. I picture myself feeling calm, strong, steady, useful. And then, I picture myself moving through the day in that state. I see myself confident behind the wheel, even in traffic. I see myself clear and present in conversations. I picture myself at peace, ready to handle whatever comes my way. This may sound incredibly small. 3 minutes of imagining? But I promise you, it is the most powerful thing I do. Why? Because your brain is an astonishing organ. It doesn't know the difference between something you imagine vividly and something that is actually happening in real life. That's not just a nice motivational quote. That is neuroscience. Researchers like Dr. Joe Dispenza and studies done at Harvard have shown, using fMRI brain scans, that when people vividly imagine doing an activity, the same areas of the brain fire as if they were physically doing the activity. What this means is that over time, through consistent, vivid imagination, you can actually rewire your nervous system. You can train your body, your entire being, to be calm, to be focused, and to be sharp, before you even leave the house. Why does this matter so profoundly for health? Because chronic stress is the #1 immune killer. It's not germs. It's not genetics. It's stress. Stress raises your cortisol levels. High cortisol damages brain cells. It weakens your immune system. It even strips muscle mass, which is particularly detrimental for seniors. And in older adults, stress often shows up as confusion, fatigue, and unexplained illness. But when you take just 3 minutes each morning to tune your mind to resilience, everything shifts. Let me share a quick story. Years ago, I had a friend. We were the same age, had similar health backgrounds. But he was always stressed. The news, politics, money worries. He lived in a constant state of fight or flight. And then, one day, he collapsed. A major heart issue. No warning. He recovered, but things were never quite the same for him. He asked me one day, genuinely puzzled, "How come you're never rattled? Don't you ever worry?" And I told him simply, worry is a thief. And every morning, I lock the door. It starts with intention. It ends with resilience. When you train your mind to find stillness and strength in the morning, your body follows. Your blood pressure can lower. Your immune cells activate more effectively. Your memory sharpens. You even digest food better. A 2016 study from the University of Wisconsin-Madison found that just 5 minutes of daily mental rehearsal significantly reduced anxiety, improved focus, and boosted immune response in adults over 65. And these positive results lasted for weeks. So yes, I walk. I eat my protein breakfast. I drink my turmeric tonic. But none of it would matter as much, or perhaps at all, without this mental tuning. Because your thoughts shape your hormones, and your hormones shape your health. You don't need to be a monk or a guru. You don't need candles or complex mantras. Just sit still. Picture strength. Picture joy. Picture yourself vibrant, capable, and at peace. Picture yourself behind the wheel, driving confidently at 92. Laughing off the small frustrations. Never getting sick. And over time, you'll notice something truly strange. It becomes real. So now you know. My health and vitality? It wasn't just luck. It wasn't genetics. And it wasn't some grand secret I kept hidden for decades. It was 5 simple choices. Done daily. Done consistently. 5 tiny habits that, when woven together, rewired my body. And maybe, just maybe, saved my life. The morning movement. The golden glass. The healing walk. The breakfast that builds strength. And the mind that leads the body. They may look small individually. But taken together, they are mighty. Health doesn't vanish in an instant. It slips away in the small things we skip. And it returns the same way. In quiet, consistent choices that build back strength. Thought by thought. Step by step. Bite by bite. If you are still wondering if it's too late for you to start, let me remind you of something precious. You are still here. You still have the capacity to choose. You still can. And just by watching this, by considering these habits, you are already on your way. Now, there is one more secret. One more thing I haven't told you yet. It's the thing I do every single night. After all the habits, after the meals, after the walking and the thinking. Something that repairs my body while I sleep. And science is beginning to suggest it might be the missing key to reversing aging itself. We'll talk about that next.